Bessie Keane, the first that entered the school, a wild, unruly, very lame girl of 14, the picture of dirt and disorder. She had been twice turned out of school as a case of incorrigible idleness, but as in spite of all, there was a bright expression in her eye when she was spoken kindly to. It was determined at all hazards to attempt a capture. A sudden descent was made on Bessie's residence. She was talked into good humour, persuaded, and as she made a bad hand of embroidery and utterly failed in shirt making, to see what charm there would be in a crochet needle, and finally was seen one wet, stormy day hobbling with her crutch along the Richmond Road to school. By dint of some coaxing and much persuasion, she was brought to regular attendance, and the conquest was complete. She is now a model of industry, and on the day of distribution of premiums was decorated with a blue ribbon and medal, the reward of good conduct. Moreover, she may be met any fine Sunday in a full suit of her own earnings, set off rather than concealed by a generous display of white calico in the shape of a bib, the uniform of the industrial. Besides plying the crochet needle, she helps her father and brother in basket making, a trade, like many others, subject to fluctuation. When soda water is in demand, hamper making flourishes, and when the fishmongers are idle, the Sally house is untenanted. Bessie, however, has now 2 strings to her bow, and as she has lately brought with her 2 others, bidding fair to become as respectable characters as herself, there is more hope for the family than of old. Mary Jane Lynch, some years younger, and also one of the first conquests. If this child believed in anything, it was in the utter impossibility of sitting still, and if ever a prize should be given for much talking, it was quite certain that in justice it should be awarded to her. She was at first given little jobs in the laundry and set occasionally to transact out-of-door business, in order to make her change from a life of activity in the streets to a vocation to a schoolroom bench as gentle as possible. By degrees, the vivacious spirit was moderated, the child's energy directed as much as possible into the crochet line, and as a sign of progress, it is sufficient to note that she gained a premium of 2 shillings 6p the other day for discovering accurately copying a new star, and that on Christmas Eve she carried home to her parents 6 shillings 2p, the product of 7 days' work. It often happens that this girl is the only one earning of the family. The father, a good tradesman, could earn £1 a week, but his hands being crippled by rheumatism and his health thoroughly bad, he is generally unable for work. The child's connection among the charitable visiting societies of the city being rather extensive, and the improvement in her ways and manners being evident to the commonest lookers-on, the school has gained a good name through her means. Eliza Boylan was sent out when the school first opened by a lady acquainted with her wretched condition. She arrived shoeless and literally in rags, a dejected, haggard-looking girl of 16. She sat down patiently to work, conducted herself well, and after a few weeks began to lay by a few pence at a time for clothes. Her appearance brightened, and as she showed shrewd signs of intelligence, she was entrusted with the execution of some work, not strictly of the school routine. Being found one day in great affliction, she was inducted to tell the cause, and it was found that her father, who was a drunkard by profession, had lately restrained himself, had gotten out again. The furniture of the little room had gone to the pawn office, the clothes of the family were going down the same road, and as had been well said, no hope remained for the drunkard's family. It was at once resolved to save the girl. She was taken into the laundry, lodged and paid like the rest, and at the present day it is with difficulty the lean, stupefied, ragged girl can be recognized in the stout, intelligent, neatly dressed member of the Institute. This girl has been recently provided with a place as servant in a family, and promises soon to become by her docility and perseverance as successful in her new as she was in her former position. Biddy Lambert lived under a tree in Richmond Avenue during last autumn. There she sat day and night, a supposed idiot, accepting what food was given her by neighbours, but if asked to move on, she calmly reclined to do so. The only account she could give of herself was that she had been in the poorhouse and had got enough of it, and that her mother was somewhere in the north. The cold weather coming on it was proposed to take her to the shelter in the institution. She consented and was put to work at once. Much cannot be said of her talents and accoutrements, but she can wash stockings, light fires and sweep down the house like any rational being, and has been made to wear a clean, orderly appearance. In fact, if a photographic sketch of these girls on their first appearance in the institution could be hung beside a full length of their present position, the collection would form a very interesting gallery of pictures. There are many more striking cases in the school, especially amongst the very young children, but enough has been said to prove that the spirit of the industry is not wanting. Many come cold and hungry to learn this work, and even one meal in the day could be given. The attendance would be immense.